All right, so sine is what over what? Opposite over hypotenuse. What's tangent? Opposite over adjacent. Okay, so where is a sine equal to square root 2 over 2? 45 degrees. Where is the cosine equal to 1 at? How many degrees? 0 degrees. Where's the tangent square root of 3 over 3? Ooh, now this one's a little harder. Okay, now, this is positive, so which values in the first quadrant involve a square root of 3? Which two angles involve a square root of 3? So let's look at the tangent of 30 and the tangent of 60. Okay? The tangent of 30 is the sine of 30 over the cosine of 30, or, because it's y over x, so y at 30 is 1/2, x at 30 is square root of 3 over 2. It's a complex fraction. How do I get rid of a complex fraction? Multiply by the denominator of the denominator. Multiply by 2 and 2, we get 1 over square root of 3. Can we leave square root of 3 on the bottom? No. So we multiply top and bottom by square root of 3, and square root of 3 over 3. Hey, it must be 30 degrees. And then you're saying, well, what's the tangent of 60 then? Well, the tangent of 60 is the sine of 60 over the cosine of 60, which is the square root of 3 over 2 over 1/2. We multiply it top and bottom by 2. We get the square root of 3 over 1, which is square root of 3. Okay? So, just know that for the future reference that tangent of 60 is just square root of 3, tangent of 30 is square root of 3 over 3. Okay? All right. I think you can do the calculator ones without a problem. It's when we get down to here that we have to start thinking again. All right. We want an integer or a fraction for these. For the sine, the cosine, the tangent, the secant, the cosecant, the cotangent. So it says an integer or a fraction. So I have to figure out what my hypotenuse is. How can we figure out the hypotenuse of a right triangle if we know two other sides? Pythagorean theorem. What's c squared going to be when a squared is 3 squared and b squared is 7 squared? 9 plus 49 is 58. So it's the square root of 58. So the sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse. 3 over square root of 58. Can we leave it like that? No. So we multiply top and bottom by square root of 58. So it's 3 square root of 58 over 58. Cosine would be 7 over square root of 58, or 7 square root of 58 over 58. What would the tangent be? Opposite over adjacent, 3 over 7. Secant's the flip of the cosine, so it's the hypotenuse over the adjacent, or the square root of 58 over 7. And we just leave it like that, because the square root's on the top, and so on. Can we handle that? Okay, so we can handle ones like that. Yep. So cosecant would be square root of 58 over 3, and cotangent would be adjacent over opposite, which would be 7 over 3. Okay? All right. Then, if the longer leg is 4, the shorter leg is 3, what's my hypotenuse going to be? What's 3 squared? 9. What's 4 squared? 16. What's 9 plus 16? 25. Square root of 25 is 5. Okay? So, alpha's up here. What's the sine of alpha? Opposite over hypotenuse is 4 over 5. What's the cosine of alpha? 3 over 5. What's the tangent of alpha? 4 over 3. Then it asks for the sine of beta. So then we have to switch angles that we're talking about. The sine of beta is 3 over 5. The cosine of beta is 4 over 5. So notice, the sine of beta is the same as the cosine of alpha because we're using the same numbers. The cosine of beta is a sine of alpha because we're using the same numbers. Okay? All right, tangent of beta is opposite of beta over adjacent, or 3/4. Okay, I think you can get this. You just figure out what this side is and then write your fractions. Now we're going to solve the right triangle. What that means is we're going to find every side and every angle. We need to find every side and every angle. So, if I know A is 3 and B is 8, how do I find my hypotenuse? Pythagorean theorem. C squared equals 8 squared plus 3 squared. So C squared equals 64 plus 9. C squared equals 73. So C equals the square root of 73. Round it to the nearest tenth. What is that? What's the square root of 73 rounded to the nearest tenth? 8.5. Now, we have to find the measure of angle A. I have an opposite side and an adjacent side that are really nice numbers. So what trig function is opposite adjacent? Tangent. So the tangent of angle alpha is the opposite side 3 over the adjacent side 8. So to figure it out, we need to move the tangent to the other side so it becomes the inverse tangent of 3/8. What's the inverse tangent of 3/8? To the nearest tenth. 20.6. Then to find beta, the tangent of beta is 8/3. What's the inverse tangent of 8/3? 69.4. Add these two numbers up. What are you going to get? Add those two numbers. What do you get? 100. Not 100. 90, right? Because let's think about it. If there's a 90-degree angle there, how many degrees are left in the triangle? 90 to be shared between two of these. So once you find the other one, you know the other one is whatever 90 minus that is. Okay? All right. Solve the triangle with that given information. They don't draw you a triangle, so you draw your own triangle. With an alpha, a beta, and this is gamma. C is opposite of gamma, so C is out there. Alpha is A is opposite of alpha, and B is opposite of beta. That's something you need to know for trig. The letter is opposite. The letter is opposite of what angle we're talking about. Alpha is opposite of A, beta is opposite of B, and gamma is opposite of C. So beta they asked for. Well, I know that alpha is 18 degrees. And if this is 90, how do you find beta? You just take 90 minus 18. 90 minus 18 is 62. Okay, all our angles are solved for. Our sides, I know C is 28. To find this side and this side, we just set up a trig function. Which trig function? It doesn't matter, either sine or cosine. Can't set up tangent, because tangent is opposite over adjacent. They're both variables. But a sine and a cosine involves a hypotenuse, so you can use either sine or cosine. So let's do sine. sine of 18 degrees equals what over what? Opposite over hypotenuse, a over 28. How do I get a alone? Multiply by 28. So 28 times the sine of 18 is what? To the nearest tenth. 8.7. So a is 8.7. Now, if I want to find b and use 18 degrees, I would use cosine of 18 equals b over 28. And then multiply by 28. 28 times cosine of 18. 26.6. And that's how you do them. Okay. From a lighthouse. Here's a lighthouse right on the coast of the ocean. Okay. The lighthouse is 76 feet high to the ocean. It looks down upon a boat. Its angle of depression is 45.6015. There's a boat right out here. Okay, here's a little boat. How far is the boat from the base of the lighthouse? This side of the triangle. Now, if the angle of depression between here and here is 45.6015, what's the angle of elevation here looking up at the lighthouse between here and here? 45.6015. Why? Because these are alternate interior angles. You got a horizontal line and a horizontal line. Alternate interior angles between two horizontal lines are congruent. So, I have this angle. I have my opposite. I want to find my adjacent. Opposite and adjacent is what trig function? Tangent. So the tangent of my angle, 45.6015, equals my opposite over my adjacent. Oh, no. I have a variable in the denominator. What am I to do? How do I get my variable out of a denominator? Multiply it. Multiply by x on both sides. So x tangent of 45.6015 equals 76, and divide by tangent of 45.6015. So x equals what? No, 74.4 feet. That's how far it is away. 74.4 feet. Okay, one last problem. What's the height of this walking bridge? Now, if this is 344 to get to here, my right triangle is actually this part. So he only uses half of it. What's half of 344? What's half of 344? 172. So this side is 172. This angle here, way back here. If I want to find the height, I have opposite, I have adjacent. Because what's going on here is this is 8.35. This is 172. I want to find the height. Opposite, adjacent. Opposite, adjacent is what trig function? Tangent. SOHCAHTOA. Sine is opposite and hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent hypotenuse. Tangent is opposite adjacent. Okay. So tangent of 8.35 equals my opposite side h over my adjacent side 172. To get h alone, I multiply by 172. What does h equal? $25.2 VI. Okay, I will put out the second assignment now. And you will